I'm finally ready to share the details about how to buy mine and Jim Casada's new cookbook. We're so excited about it. It turned out really nice, even if I do say so myself. So me and him both are just so pleased with it. Now there's a couple of ways that you could buy the cookbook. You can buy it directly from me if you're someone that just does not do online shopping. And if you want to do that, you would need to email me at tipperpressley@gmail.com. And I'll put all this in the description below, and also in the first comment will be pinned, so you can go there and look for it. You can also buy it from me on Etsy, from the Blind Pig and the Acorn Etsy shop, and so that link will be there too for you. The book is available on Amazon, so if you're someone that shops on Amazon, you can certainly buy it there, and I will add that link. It will also be available in many bookstores across the country, including all the Mast General Stores, which we're really, really excited about if you have one in your area. So I want to tell you a little bit about the book. Let's see if there's anything else that I want to say. Oh, I had a few people ask me if it would be available in Kindle form, and the publisher says it will be. I'm not sure exactly when, how long that will take, but when it is available, I'll be sure to announce that. And I'm going to go back over I've got my little cheat sheet here to tell you about all the events that Jim Casada and I will be at, so that we hope that you can come and meet us and talk to us in person, and you can pick up a cookbook there if you're going to do that. We'll be glad to sign it. Oh, and that's another thing. So if you come to the events, we'll be glad to sign it. If you want me to sign the books that you buy on Etsy or directly from me, you just need to let me know. So on Etsy, right above the little where you'd put it in your cart, put in cart, there's a little drop down menu there, and it says like personalization. And if you just put in there, please sign my book, Tipper, I'll be glad to sign it. Of course, if you mail me a payment, if you end up doing it that way, you just need to tell me, sign my book, Tipper, and I'll do it that. Either way, so I'll be happy to sign them. And of course, if you get to come out to one of our events, we'll both be glad to sign them. And if you do purchase the book, whether from any of the various places, and you enjoy it, Jim and I would really appreciate if you would leave a review for us. That would really help us out, kind of help spread the cookbook around, more people would notice it that way. And also, for me and Jim both, of course we want to sell cookbooks, we'd be lying if we didn't, but for us personally, it would just really help spread the wonderful foodways of southern Appalachian mountains that we both call home. And that's really our main goal, me and him both, for actually doing the book. And I'm so glad he encouraged me. I owe this cookbook to Jim Casada. I dedicated, my part of the dedication is to Granny and Pap, but I really should have dedicated it to Jim too, because without his encouragement and his immense help, it would have never happened. I would have never actually got it done. So now I want to tell you a little bit about it. It's got over 200 recipes, and there are 27 chapters, 27 different chapters, and each chapter kind of shares kind of an introduction of whatever it is that the recipes that we're sharing in that part of the book. So I won't go through all of them and read them to you, or maybe I will. We'll just see. But chapter 1 is Makings from Corn and Cornmeal, the soul of Appalachian cooking, which is true. Corn plays such a huge role in the foodways of Appalachia. Chapter 2 is Cathead Biscuits, Biscuit Bread, and More Wonders from Wheat. Gotta have biscuits. I love biscuits. Chapter 3 is Fancy Doin's, Other Breads and Baked Goods. Chapter 4 is Pork, the main meat of Appalachia. That was, I don't know that that's so much true today, but years ago, definitely pork was what people ate more than anything else. Even more, I often say people, if you watch a lot of TV or you read a lot of books, or kind of people have the notion that in Appalachia, in the mountains, every meal they ate, they had squirrel or groundhog or deer or something like that. Truthfully, it was mostly pork or no meat. They did eat chicken, and we have a chapter about that, but the primary meat was definitely pork. The next chapter, chapter 5, is Preacher Bird. Chapter 6 is Beef. Chapter 7, Meat from Nature's Larder. There's where the venison, or we just say deer meat, and squirrel and those kind of things come in. Chapter 8 is Fish. Chapter 9 is You've Got to Have Gravy. All the different gravies, from chocolate to red eye to cornmeal. Wonderful gravies. 10 is spring vegetables. This is the time of the year perfect for that chapter. 11, the bounty of summer. 12, the matchless tomato. 13, root crops. 14, fall and winter vegetables. 15, vegetables and other foods from the wild. So this time of the year is when we're really focusing all that wonderful goodness, the bounty of the garden and from the wild. Chapter 16, domestic fruits. Chapter 17, fruits from the wild. Chapter 18, melons. Watermelons are my favorite. Chapter 19, berries, homegrown and from nature. Chapter 20, dried foods. Chapter 21, pickles. Chapter 22, jellies, jams, and fruit butters. Chapter 23, cakes. My favorite cake of all, Irish potato cake. The recipe's in here. Chapter 24, pies and cobblers. Chapter 25, cookies, bars, and other sweets. Chapter 26, candy, syrups, and special treats. And Chapter 27, to quench one's thirst. So it's some drinks, including Russian tea and Granny's hot chocolate and some others. So just as you can see, a whole lot of goodness in here, a whole lot of the Foodways. I also especially love the photos. So here's one you can see. So that's one, that was one that I submitted, but that's biscuits, you can see. And there I'm actually talking about the, kind of showing the baby biscuit, as some people would call it, or the flum lolly. There's all kinds of little, some of the pictures are smaller and they're kind of harder to see, but the photos are from my collection of personal photos and Jim Casada's. And then also, I'll talk about some of the other photos, but here's some of the, in the middle, there's some color photos that are really nice. They're not all color. The ones throughout the book are black and white, but I really love the color insert. Beautiful, beautiful photos. So that's amazing. Let's see, I've got to show you this one. This is one that this is one of my favorite pages in the book, and I'll tell you why. If you see that hand right there and that gravy, that's Pap's hand. So I love that he made it in the cookbook. So he would be proud of it. Lots of photos from our collections. And also we have some historic photos from Western Carolina University that's part of the Southern Appalachian digital collections there. I'll leave a link to that. I mean, it's fun just to go and look through all the wonderful photos. If you read The Blind Pig and the Acorn, you know that I feature some of those wonderful photos from the collection. There's one, if you can see. That's Gid Laney and his daughter. And I'm especially proud of this one because that's in Brasstown. Gid was from Brasstown. Some wonderful photos from all through, though, Western Carolina. This is another one, Gid Laney. Look at all those potatoes. Isn't that great? I was trying to find some, though. There's also some from Swain County that I know Jim's especially pleased that are in here. Let's see, I know there's one, a really interesting one. Oh, you've got to love, I don't know how well that one shows up, but you've got to love that. Look at that picnic going on. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, here's the one. This one is in Bryson City, so it's really interesting. You can see the river is froze over. He's standing on it, but look what's beside him, a watermelon. Gotta love, isn't that the most interesting picture? Anyway, wonderful photos throughout the book, along with all the beautiful, lovely recipes. And I say beautiful and lovely because so many of them are from mine and Jim's families, handed down through our families, ones we grew up with. So there is a beauty in food. All of us, not just people in Appalachia, people all throughout the world, food really, because we all have to eat, Foodways really become part of who you are. You know, things you love, things you hate, things that you had to eat when you was growing up that you might not have liked. Oftentimes when you're an adult, you remember those things and kind of want them. I've shared the story numerous times, but I'll share it again about you know, someone told me that when they were growing up, all they had, this is an older person, you know, a lot of times all they had for supper because they were poor, they had cornbread, maybe cornbread and milk. And, you know, they had cornbread maybe twice a day, but that was their supper, cornbread and milk, or cornbread and buttermilk. And they got so tired of it, and they swore, you know, someday I'll be better off, and I'll be able to afford whatever I want, and I'll never eat cornbread and milk again. Well, sure enough, they did get better off. They grew up and, you know, went to on with their lives and all that. And what did they find themselves wanting to eat? Cornbread and milk, because it took them back to that place, you know, of when they grew up, of childhood. So now that I've told you a little bit about the cookbook, the last thing I want to do is go over the events that Jim and I will be at, so that if you're able to make it to any of them, we'd be so glad to meet you. And again, I'll put this information also in the description, and I'll try to even put it in that first comment. Maybe it'll let me put everything. So the Mast General Stores, we're so excited that our book's going to be in their stores. And the very first outing that we're going to be, the first ones I'm going to read, these are all Mast General Stores, but the very first one is Waynesville, North Carolina. It's May 6th, and it'll be from 12 until 3. The second one is May 13th, and it's going to be from 10 to 1 in Hendersonville, North Carolina. Now, Jim unfortunately had a conflict there, so it'll just be me. I'm sure one of the girls will be with me, but that's the only one that Jim's not going to be able to make. So that's May 13th, 10 to 1 in Hendersonville, North Carolina. May 27th from 11 until 2 p.m. we're going to be in Knoxville, Tennessee at that Mast General Store. June 10th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. we're going to be at the Mast General Store in Roanoke, Virginia. June 17th, this is going to be a busy day, from 11 to 2, we're going to be in the Mast General Store in Boone, North Carolina. And that same day, from 3 to 6, we're going to be at the Mast General Store in Sugar Grove, North Carolina. Sugar Grove, North Carolina. Now, those were all Mast General Stores. There are 2 other dates that I'll share with you. So on June 1st, we're going to, at 6:30, we're going to be in Bryson City, North Carolina, at the Swain County Genealogical and Historical Society. That's a mouthful. I ain't even going to try to say it again. Anyway, we're going to be there at 6:30. Now that one, June 1st, that's going to be a more than just a book signing. We'll be glad to sign your books, and we'll have books for sale there. But also we're going to kind of do a little talk about the book. So that one might be, you know, there'll be more to it, in other words, than just sitting at a table talking to people. July 1st, we're going to be at City Lights Bookstore in Sylva, North Carolina, and that's going to be at 3 p.m. And again, we'll be kind of talking a little bit there. So I know there'll be other ones added to this, and whenever they add them, you know, we add more, the publisher does, we'll be sure to share that and let you know. So I'm really excited finally to be able to tell people they can buy the book, and I've been so blessed already. So many people's asked about the book, so many people's bought it on Amazon, pre-ordered it. A lot of people, I announced the book information on Monday on the Blind Pig and the Acorn, and a lot of people have already bought it. I'm so thankful for all of you. You've made me feel very special with all your comments and nice emails and everything, so I really appreciate all that. And I'll put those details again, how to buy everything, whether you can buy it from Amazon, from Etsy, from me. I'll put that in the description and also in the first comment that's pinned. Thank you for letting me tell you about the cookbook, and as always, you know, I hope you keep dropping back by to help me celebrate Appalachia.